You hear the term New World Order and immediately think conspiracy theory. Heck, YouTube probably already slapped a disclaimer on top of this video telling you it doesn't really exist. But just humor me for a minute. What if it does? What if major world leaders are openly admitting it right now? And what does it mean for you and the people that you love? Now, because I live in Vegas and I genuinely believe that major macroeconomic nationwide trends tend to start here in Sin City, we're going to start on the Strip. We'll then zoom out and talk about the nation and the global economy shifting right beneath our feet. Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Stephen J. Campbell, and this is the place where you might come for some Vegas, but just stay to learn about who our new global masters really are. And in this video, I'll merely be asking some questions. The important what-if questions, because at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself whether the idea of a new world order is real, and if it is, whether it's already affecting you. And just a quick heads up. Look, I know some of you guys are here for Vegas gossip and buffet reviews, and lately I've been shifting my content towards bigger, broader topics, and I get it. Change is uncomfortable. But this video asks some questions that'll make some of you think. But for the truth seekers out there, the ones who need real answers instead of the comfortable lies, this one, it's for you. So let's go. So right now, Las Vegas is experiencing something it hasn't seen in 20 years, a tourism collapse. And this isn't about bad marketing or overpriced buffets. This is actually about something far bigger. You see, Vegas has always been where global money comes to play. It's when international businessmen stop flying in for conferences, or when wealthy tourists from Asia and Europe stop booking suites at the Bellagio. That's when you have a signal that the entire global economic system is fracturing. Room rates are down, the casinos are still making their money, of course, but only by squeezing more out of fewer people. But here's where it gets interesting, see. While Vegas is bleeding visitors, world leaders gathered at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland just a few days ago. And what they said? It should make your blood run cold, because they're not even hiding it anymore. So on January 20th, 2026, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney stood in front of the global elite and said something rather remarkable. He said, quote, "We're in the midst of a rupture, not a transition. The old order is not coming back." So let that sink in. A sitting head of state, speaking at the most powerful economic gathering on the planet, just told the world that the system we've all grown up with is essentially over. He didn't say it's changing, he said it's not coming back. Carney then went even further. He said that, quote, "Great powers have begun using economic integration as weapons, tariffs as leverage, financial infrastructure as coercion, supply chains as vulnerabilities waiting to be exploited." Now, this isn't conspiracy talk. This is a prime minister openly stating that the world's most powerful countries are weaponizing trade, money, and resources against one another. He even warned that, quote, "Middle powers must act together because if we're not at the table, we're on the menu." Now, before you think this is just some random Canadian politician, please understand who Mark Carney really is. He's the former governor of the Bank of Canada. He was then the head of the Bank of England. He's been one of the most influential financial minds on the planet for over a decade. And so when he says the old order is dead, he's reading from the playbook directly. And this isn't the first time that leaders have openly talked about a new world order. And in a second, I'm going to tell you about other times this nasty term, New World Order, has manifested. You'd be surprised to learn it's been right in the public eye for decades. So look, I spend hours digging through economic reports, trade filings, and speeches from world leaders because I want you to see what's coming before it hits. But here's the thing, you don't have to just watch this happen. You can actually position yourself to benefit from all this chaos. And that's why I actually created my futures trading course, 1K a day. And right now it's open for 4 spots for the first 4 people watching this video for just $199. And I'm going to show you exactly how my students are pulling potential profits of $100, $250, even $500 or more per day out of the markets in around 15 to 20 minutes per day. Look, I got my one new student, right? I'm working with him one-on-one. I don't do it often, but I do it sometimes. And he's got his new account. Yesterday, he put in $182. Today, $400 of profit. The proof is in the students, folks. And just think about that. 15 minutes versus an 8-hour shift job that's grinding you down. If that sounds like something that could change your life, then here's what you do. Right now, for the first 4 people, you click the first link in the pinned comment of this video. You get to the checkout, you type in the code new order, and that's it. Because we're going into a new order. You'll see why in a minute. You're going to lock in lifetime access before I'm forced by my corporate overlords that run my platform to raise the price. And they tell me that's happening tomorrow, by the way, because I'm about to show you why those traditional safety nets are disappearing and how this whole New World Order thing might have a little more smoke and heat than we all thought. You see, this isn't the first time world leaders have openly talked about a new world order. They've actually been saying this for decades. In 1990, President George H.W. Bush stood before Congress and he said,
"We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders."
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for the future generations a new world order. Then in 2009, during the financial crisis, British Prime Minister Gordon Brown told the world leaders,
"A new world order is emerging, and with it the foundations of a new and progressive era of international cooperation. We have resolved that from today we will together manage the process of globalization."
A new world order is emerging. But every time there's a major crisis, be it war, financial collapse, pandemics, the same phrase keeps appearing, new world order. And every time it's accompanied by massive shifts in how money flows, who controls resources, and how ordinary people actually live their lives. So when Mark Carney says in 2026 that we are in a, quote, rupture, and the old order isn't coming back, he's just really saying the quiet part out loud. But here's the question. What does that rupture actually look like? And how is it already affecting you and your wallet? Because right now, we're witnessing the most significant shift in global trade policy since the 1930s. President Trump has implemented baseline 10% tariffs on most countries, 25% on imported cars, 30% on European goods, and reciprocal tariffs as high as 15% on specific trading partners. Now, the stated goal? Rebalancing trade relationships that have been lopsided for decades. And here's where it gets complicated, because this isn't just an American story. It's a global chess match where every player is making risky moves. According to the Tax Foundation, these tariffs are projected to generate $2.3 trillion in revenue through 2035. Now, that's $247 billion in 2026 alone. Now, some economists, though, call this a tax increase. Others argue it's a negotiating tool that protects domestic manufacturing. The truth? We won't know the full impact of this for years. But here's what we do know. The rest of the world is responding. And this is where it gets a little bit dangerous. You see, Canada just signed 12 new trade deals in the last 6 months. Europe is negotiating free trade pacts with Australia, the Philippines, Thailand, and Malaysia. And here's the kicker. Many of these countries are simultaneously deepening their trade relationships with China. Just think about that for a second. Countries are playing a very dangerous game right now. They're trying to hedge their bets by building trade networks that include China, a nation that has zero qualms about using economic leverage for political control. We've seen it with Australia. We've seen it with Canada. When you become dependent on Chinese trade, you become vulnerable to Chinese pressure. So while America is using tariffs as leverage to reshape trade, other nations are essentially trading one form of economic dependency for another. The difference? One comes with the rule of law and democratic institutions. The other comes with social credit scores and re-education camps. But the world isn't waiting to see how American trade policy stabilizes. They're making moves right now. Trade is increasing globally, but it's rearranging itself. And the question isn't whether that's good or bad. The question is what happens when all of these new trade networks are built on relationships with a country that has absolutely no problem weaponizing them. And if your ears haven't perked up by now, you might want to perk them up, because what I'm about to show you next is why the traditional safety nets are disappearing and what you need to know about it. See, because while all of this trade chaos is unfolding, something extraordinary happened on January 26 of 2026. Gold, this stuff right here, this, shattered $5,000 per ounce, the ceiling for the first time in history. Now, why does that matter? Because gold doesn't surge like that for fun. Gold rises when people lose faith in currencies, when investors and central banks and entire nations start to believe that the dollar, the euro, or any other fiat currency might not hold its value. They flee to gold. Right now, the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they're actively working together to reduce their dependence on the US dollar. They're building alternative payment systems, trading in their own currencies, and stockpiling gold reserves. According to recent reports, countries are trying to de-dollarize their economies, and that's exactly what's happening right now. Gold's surge to $5,000 isn't a random market move. It's a vote of no confidence in the current global system. So let's stop and connect some dots, because this is where Vegas, Davos, tariffs, and gold all come together. See, Vegas is collapsing because international visitors can't afford to come or simply don't want to. Why? It's because their currencies are weakening against the US dollar, and trade tensions make traveling to America politically uncomfortable for some. The global economic machine that used to funnel wealthy tourists into places like Vegas is breaking down. Mark Carney stands in Davos and tells the world that the old order is dead. He's not speculating. He's simply describing policy choices that are being made right now by the United States and other great powers. Tariffs, sanctions, financial coercion, they're replacing cooperation. The tariffs are raising hundreds of billions of dollars, which is good, while simultaneously pushing America's trading partners to build new networks that exclude us, which is bad. The rest of the world is moving on, as economists like to put it. And gold, this stuff right here, it's 22 carats from Thailand, by the way. Yeah, this is what people turn to when they don't trust what comes next. When a new world order is being built, the transition phase is chaos. And in chaos, people flee to the one asset that has held value for millennia. So here's the uncomfortable truth. If Vegas, a global entertainment brand, can lose nearly 8% of its customers in a single year because of economic realignment, what does that mean for the rest of the economy? Well, what it means is that your job could be next. If you work in hospitality, travel, or any industry that depends on international business, you're already in the crosshairs and most likely have felt it. If you rely on imported goods, expect business to be much different going forward if tariffs and supply chain constraints compound. And the New World Order isn't some far-off concept. It's happening right now. Countries are choosing sides. Trade is fragmenting into regional blocks. The dollar's dominance is being challenged, and ordinary people are caught in the middle every day watching their purchasing power erode, while the elites at Davos discuss how to reimagine the global economy. But here's the other side of that coin. When systems break down, opportunities always emerge. The people who see the shift coming and position themselves accordingly are the ones who thrive during transitions. That's why understanding the macro matters. That's why you need to know that world leaders are actually saying something, not just what the news headlines are telling you. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Do you believe the New World Order is real? Because if it is, then everything you thought you knew about financial security is changing. Your savings in dollars might not hold the same value. Your job might not be as stable as you think. The investments you've been told are safe might not be safe at all. But if you awake to what's happening, you can adapt. You can diversify. You can learn how markets work when systems fracture. You can build assets that protect you when currencies weaken and trade networks collapse. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I'm here to show you what the world leaders are openly saying and what the data is screaming. Vegas, as always, is the canary in the coal mine. When the world's playground starts to empty out because the global economy is fracturing, that's not a local problem. That's a clear warning. So, the New World Order, it isn't coming. It's already here. The question is whether you're going to be one of the people who sees it and adapts, or one of the people who gets left behind, wondering exactly what happened. So, above all else, stay grounded. Keep your eyes on the macro. Educate yourself. Find a way to learn. Take my course or find some other way to figure out the economy. And just remember, just because they call it a conspiracy doesn't mean it isn't happening right in front of you. My name is Stephen J. Campbell. If you're even 1% smarter from watching this video, why don't you hit that like button, drop me a comment telling me where you're from and if the New World Order is happening in front of us, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And I post videos 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And until we meet again, as my mentor always tells me and I pass off to you, just keep swimming.